Okay, let's talk about layoffs, cutbacks, downsizing, buyouts in huge numbers by huge companies, small companies. The federal government in the first 2 quarters, my understanding, laid off and restructured 150,000 people before the Supreme Court gave notice that go ahead, lay off people. State of Illinois, 1,500 teachers. Where else? Who else is? You tell me. UPS, Intel, Google, Meta. Who else? Walmart in the printing industry. Many people. It's terrible. It's terrible out there. And they say, hey, it's only 4.1% unemployment. Nah, it's not accurate. And who's getting laid off? The breadwinners, the high earners. Non-competes come in order also. But for you to really change your life, that's what you have to expect. And I've said this over and over. The NFL stands for not for long, okay? And you have a choice. When they offer you a severance pay or a cutback or any benefits, it's a gift. It's a gift. When it comes to a buyout, that's a hell of an opportunity. But is it negotiable? No. And the union's not going to help you. It could take months to years. And here's the other thing about a buyout. A buyout's got a term on it. In other words, it's a one-time opportunity, like the federal government received, a one-time opportunity to decide whether to go or not. And my understanding of 75,000 federal workers in the past 6 months had the one-time shot. Guess how many took it? 100%. But they also knew what their pay was going to be, what their retirement benefits were going to be, their medical benefits. It's a hell of a deal. If you get that offer when it comes down to severance pay, any cash up front, or any type of compensation for the next 6 months to a year, you know what that's for? That's an incentive for you to get off your ass and go somewhere else. It's free money, man. It's free money. And you're going to get your benefits. You're going to get that. I'm just kind of looking at some of my highlights of another thing. And these are all through people that I've talked to that experienced a layoff or severance pay. Some people didn't get anything. They got a pink slip. Goodbye. After 33 years. No benefits, no nothing. Why? There was a merger and acquisition. There was a buyout, acquired by a new company. This gentleman had 33 years. And thank God he saved for a rainy day and he invested in himself. And that's what you got to think about. So I asked him, I says, tell me, at the end of the day, is it really more of a personal decision? And he agreed. Yes, Rock, it's a personal decision. Union's not going to help you. The company and HR is not going to help you. And today it's only getting worse because now you're informed by text. You're informed by email. You're not even getting a personal phone call anymore. And when there is a change at the top, especially like UPS, there's been a change in CEO. USPS got a new CEO, okay? When there's those changes, expect restructuring. And what's restructuring? It's cutting until they decide where their money's going and what they're going to invest in. And you know what they're going to invest in? They're going to invest in the future. Technology, new vehicles, new facilities, new people, skilled people. Yes, it's a change. And if you've got 33 years or whatever it is, of course there's going to be attrition. Of course there's going to be layoffs. And you know where they start? They start at the middle management. That's where they start. You don't hear about that because they're non-union. When you're on YouTube and you hear about layoffs, it's usually the production people. It's usually the boots on the ground, the drivers, the carriers, and all this other stuff. They don't talk about the middle management. Middle management usually goes first. I remember a call from a very large company, an ex-girlfriend, by the way. She spent 30 years working at this company and expected to retire there. And her husband worked there too. That's where they met. After me, of course. She called me and says, oh, can you believe it? They laid me off after 30 years. And you know what I said to her? I says, hey, listen, what have you been doing for the last 30 years? Yeah, what have you been doing the last 30 years? You have to be on the move. You have to be noticed. You can't hide. There's a lot of invisible people. Those invisible people are the first ones to go. And understand this. You have to basically be adding something to the company. But you can't take it personal. No matter the 30 years, no matter how much loyalty, no matter what you did, the answer is, what did you contribute? How did you go in? Did you provide sales? Did you provide solutions? That's how you get noticed. And is it always worth working for a big company or a big corporation or the government? It all depends on how much grit you got and how far you want to go in life. But all this about layoffs, downsizing, restructuring, it's going to happen. The bigger you are. Now, do big companies fail? Of course they fail. You don't want to be part of that. If you have the chance to watch, which you could do today, which is public stock, or see what's going on at the top, who's being let go, who's being hired to restructure. The other thing is you got to look out for is in executive level, who's selling their stock, who's selling their personal stock, because a lot of them have incentives. They get a base salary, then they get incentives to grow the company. If you're not growing a company, you're going to be let go by the board of directors. And the board of directors are all about shareholders, the investors. They're not looking at actually at that point efficiency. Yes, efficiency for the long term. But today there's so much technology and so many software packages. I just thought about Salesforce is laying off a tremendous amount of people, and their stock is high, but they're getting more efficient. And people that invest in these tech stocks expect growth. That's what they expect. Look what happened to Twitter or X. The very first day, 50%. People, how did they get notified? Email. I have family members that were informed by email. Didn't see it coming. Their bosses didn't even see it. They were apologizing to them. At the end of the day, if you get 60 days or 90 days to decide whether you should take a buyout, like the unions are pushing at UPS right now, it's against the law, it's against our relationship. It's going to last forever, man. And believe me, the union cares about the union. They care about, in this case, the UPS, the 20,000 members that they may lose. But I would suspect that you could say, you know what, I'm going to think for myself. I'm going to take the money. And you know what, I'm going to go work for somebody else. I'm going to take this money, roll it over into my retirement fund, invest it, and then go work for somebody else. Maybe a city delivery service, maybe a regional delivery service, or something like that. If you have a good record, because you got to remember, people are still hired through drug testing, background checks, criminal backgrounds. And if you got any of that shit, man, I'll tell you, the union's not going to protect you. Okay? Because it's a personal situation. And if you're in the foxhole with 12 guys and there's one bad piece of cancer, that guy is out. You're going to protect the 11. So this is what I wanted to say, because so many people are contacting me about, Rock, what should I do? Is there really that option? Some are saying that the offer at UPS was offered. Some are saying it hasn't been formalized. The unions are saying you can't do this. Who do you think's going to win? The organization? And believe me, if they don't take that buyout, the second round is going to be worse. It might be a layoff with no benefits, no offer, and live with the union. And the union's going to watch everything very closely. And it takes years. And now the CEO at the UPS, they're already talking about, oh, she's an ex-Home Depot person. And she's going to make out on this because she did the traditional, classic growth. It's going to be through cuts, through reorganization, through layoffs, through everything else, just like the government's doing, our federal government. Now, where you want to be basically is call your own shot. Now, I know people in the banking industry that is very common to only work there 5-10 years. They see it coming. When they're 50, 55, it's over. But guess what they did? They invested in their analytics, watching the company they're working for, because they were out of work, and they said, well, this is the best company for me for at least 5 years, maybe 10 years if I'm lucky. And they watch the stock, and they say what they do is, what they've done in the past is they take the buyout and take a few bucks, invest it at its low, and within 60, 90 days, it increased. So if you believe in the company, it's up to you. But it's a personal decision. The business has already made its decision. The company's already made its decision. And if you get through the first pass, the first round, they call it, believe me, I've seen it with people. Within 90 days after that, there's no more opportunity to take a buyout. It's just a cut. You're gone. But here's your money. You're getting paid for the next 6 months. You get another 6 months of unemployment. Go look for a job. Here's your benefits and so on for a certain amount of time. And it's over. And the people that think that over, especially the people that I know, they thought for a rainy day. They realized that this was eventually going to happen. They weren't happy, but they were in a certain situation that they were at a certain age that they realized, this is the reality. It's going to happen. It's the people that are comfortable, that are stable, that think they're going to get to the end zone and get that watch or that party. Very uncommon for anyone now to receive a going away party, if you want to call it that. Because let's face it, most of the people are not happy about the layoff. It's an immediate hit in the head, but it's reality. But if you put the numbers together like a business would, the first thing you do is get the contract, get the offer, make sure it's in writing. Talk is talk. What I've been hearing on YouTube and TikTok is it's not official. It's not been documented. That's hard to believe. Maybe the union is not sharing it with the people because they see a infringement, infringement in the contract, which was already agreed to, right? Well, believe me, lawyers are involved. You think you got a chance against lawyers? A union against these fucking lawyers? No way. And you don't have a chance if you have a union steward representing you, because who comes first? Who's worried about their pay? The people? The organization at UPS, those top people that are going to get millions of dollars for doing what they're doing? That's part of the roadmap. That's why they brought in a person like that. Back in the day in the 70s and 80s, I forgot what the overall, but it was just, they would buy a company and just dismantle it. But today, lawyers involved, unions might be involved, and those poor suckers that are under a union in a small company, let's say less than 1,000 employees that have a union, you might end up like a couple of people that I know that they were counting on retirement with the union and it went insolvent within 10 years after. They had a four-figure monthly pension from the union, and it's 3, and within 5 years it'll be 0. That's what happens. So, you know how I talk about make sure you pick the right horse. So it's not about this decision. The decision is it's personal. Talk to your tax accountant. Talk to your wife or your spouse. Talk to your family. And you're going to have to change. And I would say if you're white collar, this is what my recruiter friends tell me. Rock, if you have a non-compete, you're screwed. Okay? You got to honor it. Especially if you have a new owner. Number 2, they're not going to relocate you. And if you're not local, they're not going to hire you. Okay? No matter how good of value you have. And then third is you're going to get 30 to 50% of your current wage. That's your competition, man. That's your competition. And you got to be a hunter today. So your age matters. It really does. And what you've been doing, like I mentioned to you, my friend that called that spent 30 years and all of a sudden she got laid off, 6 months severance, nothing. Most of these people don't get hired, especially if you have like a a clerical position. You got to be a go-go. I call them go-go's. You got to make a difference. And you got to have a track record, a solid track record. And I went independent on my buyout was 1993, and I've been independent ever since. It hurt though. It stung me, but I maxed out on everything I could, and I just went independent. But these are the decisions I went through. I hired an attorney to make sure. I had an employment contract, by the way. So I had something on a personal basis. I had a guaranteed employment contract for 5 years. It saved me because within 2 years, they were asking me to buy me out, which is pretty common with private equity, because they want to cut you out. And I had a 40% interest in it, okay? You don't have much to say when you're a minority interest, all right? Then the next thing I did is I got a valuation as a company because the bottom line is they were undervaluing not only me, they were undervaluing the company. So I got a objective at my cost, all right? And then the offer, I turned it around and said, listen, I'll buy you out at the 60%, okay? No, they weren't interested in that. They just wanted to get rid of me. And then I had almost 3 years left on my employment contract, so they paid me for that. Then I had a 3-year non-compete because I was a threat. And, hospitalization. I had to get my own hospitalization. I got my own Roth. I got my own retirement at that time. And I've been saving ever since. Got Social Security. But I did not sit back and not work. I worked all the time. But I set up my own corporation, an LLC. Okay? So I've been independent since the mid-90s. Okay? And I started up at a company, founded that, and I sold that too. Hard work, though. A lot of risk. I was single, raising 3 kids, divorced, of course. And that's what you're faced with. A lot of fears, man. I broke out in hives. That's how bad it got. I'll never forget, I broke out in hives. I got so scared that I didn't think I was dying, but I was, itching. I had red spots all over the place. And you're going to laugh at this. I thought it was from either taco sauce or spaghetti sauce. And my dad, I was single. I had no one else to take care of me. My kids were all young. I said, Dad, can you pick me up? I got to go to the hospital. So I went to the hospital. I was in the emergency room, and I wanted to stay overnight because I was fearful that something was wrong with me. And they gave me some medication. And you know what my dad brought? My dad, I'll never forget it. Even though you would think my father was empathetic and compassionate, he was with me. And he brought his medicine, which was a loaf of Italian bread. And it worked. I felt better, comfort food, took care of it. But you know what it was? It was the stress of making that decision of a buyout. So you might break out in hives during this decision, but guess what? It all worked out. Yeah, I had to recreate myself, but I was less than 40. So you guys that are over 40 and women that are over 40 working at UPS and so on, think it through. Think it through. But don't forget, it's your personal decision. And at the end of the day, you got to love what you do. Now, the other thing that people underestimate is, do you believe in the company you're working for? Do you trust them? So even if you decide to take the buyout and you have a year to look for something, you really have to be strategic. And a lot of it comes down to who you know. It's not your resume. It's not AI writing something. It's not LinkedIn. It's maybe not even a recruiter. But you got to find out who you've been working with over those years and years that you worked with. You might have ran into people. I run into people just to talk at Starbucks, for an example. What do? Usually older people, because they want to talk, older than me. I'm in my 70s, and there's still guys talking to me in their 80s saying, yeah, this is what I did for life. Here's what my kids do. Here's my grandkids, and so on. But you know what? I sell real estate on the side just for something to do. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what YouTube is for me. But I'm giving you guys a heads up. This is what to expect. It's not for long. And your career isn't your mother and your father's career and your grandpa's, where it's 40 years and you got the fucking watch. No. It doesn't happen that way. Very few people are going to give you a bonus that they sold the business or help you create A referral letter. Yeah, right. And the referral letter is written by someone that's not trusted in the industry. Makes it worse. That's the reason why I don't refer people that I really don't know for 20, 25 years. Because at the end of the day, colors show. Your career, no matter how long it was, 1 year, 7 years, 12 years, 40 years. I hear there's people at USPS in their 70s. Why? They're still productive. You can still be productive. Where they made an offer, maybe they don't want to go anywhere else. Maybe they'll die with nothing to do, like my 75-year-old CPA says, Rock, you won't believe how many people die soon after they retire because they just don't feel relevant anymore. Or they get dementia, or they get health problems, or they become alcoholics, or they go through a divorce, or whatever. It's life-changing. Yes, this is going to be life-changing, your buyout, but it's a good buyout. It's a kick in the ass. Steve Jobs said it was the best thing that ever happened when he got fired from Apple. What's the best thing that happened to me when I got fired from my boss? Why? Because I knew how to play the game. I knew how to play the game. And I hired the right people to help me understand, will I be able to make it with no income for the next 2 years or whatever? You see, that's how you have to look at it. Or like a buddy of mine, he was let go 3 times with a master's degree. He was cut loose by a tobacco organization and non-union. He was a white-collar guy. And guess what he ended up doing? He took it, rolled it over into retirement, and started working. He got to the point where he was unemployable as a W-2. So he ended up working at Target, driving a forklift in his 50s on a 3rd shift, just to keep making money towards Social Security, and then he found something later on. I've been through 8 career changes. So that's what you have to look at. It's just not going to be like mom and dad working for a company. And you know what? Where's the integrity of these companies that are 100, 150-year-old companies? You know, USPS, our federal government, over 250 years, the military, whatever it is. But believe me, if you do one thing wrong, drug testing, background check, criminal background check, you won't get hired. And if you have a bad record from UPS, for an example, why can't you go to USPS? You should be proud. Get 2 benefits. Get 2 whatever. You know? This is all about you, man. Don't blame the union. Don't blame your organization that you were loyal. And let's face it, as long as you've been there, the company has changed. The CEO has changed. The stock has changed. The process has changed. The operations has changed. Who can you trust? HR? Can you trust your boss? Everybody's fearful. And what people underestimate, white collar especially, and it's only going to get worse because I call it pink slip quarter, the last half of the year is they're reorganizing for the future. And it's the stock, it's all about the future. Okay? And even if they got billions and they're making money, it's never enough. It's never enough for the shareholders. That's why I'm saying you got to be careful who you decide to work for. Call integrity. And whoever hires you, a recruiter, HR, whatever, at the end of the day, you're going to have a new boss. You're going to report to somebody that you didn't even know. And I've heard at USPS, it takes months to apply, interview, and don't forget, the theory is hire slowly, fire quickly. Well, USPS, if you get in and get a job, they're going to train you too, right? So you're a CCA, a City Carrier Assistant, okay? They don't even get through it 2-3 weeks. They're done. I can't take it anymore. They got to start the process all over again. It's not easy. So when you hear people out of work for 2 years, 3 years or more, or going independent, it's very common. Very common. But how do you do it when you're going month to month or week to week and you have family? This is why my father would say, of all 11 of us, save for a rainy day. The fear of God is nobody is going to take care of you but you. Your capital asset is you. And if you realize that it's going to come to a dead end, it's just a message. Because the union people, just as an example at UPS, at least you're getting something. You don't even know the non-union people, how many people have already been offered the same, similar, and took it. And they took that, and they're already out in the marketplace looking for work. And as I mentioned before, who do you know? You know a guy that knows a guy that knows a woman that knows this. They're looking for people. Yeah. But it's very low-key, man. It's very low-key. And don't forget, they're not giving anybody, what do they call it, bonuses to be hired. No, what they're giving you is kicking the ass saying, okay, here's your job. And here's the other thing. People don't realize whatever job description they give you changes the very day you start. It's tripled. It's tripled. And if you don't have competence or the confidence to get through it, and then your boss is jealous of you because he didn't hire you, HR hired you because they just wanted somebody to fill it in, and you're getting paid 50% less than you were making. And you're working harder, and there's no relocation. There's no remote shit anymore. It's hard work, man. And everybody's blaming the millennials right now that they don't want to work. I wouldn't agree with that. But I did hear that the millennials, this is through employers, saying the title is more important than even the pay. And as you get older, it's more about the benefits than the pay, because benefits are 35% of your salary. That's how a business person thinks about it. The cost, the total cost of an employee is not $100,000 because you were paid $100,000. It's $150,000 a year. Plus, there's no matching. There's no this. There's no that. PTO is no longer. That's why they go with contract workers, 1099s, like I am. Now, I've been doing my research about, hey, do I want to apply for USPS? That opened up a bag of worms. And I've done my due diligence. I'm looking at it. I'm still not done, but I think what I'm going to end up doing is understanding their procurement process to help them as a consultant, a 1099, because all the experience I got. Nobody's got the experience I got when it comes down to the printing industry and fleet markings and branding and stuff like this, because I know all the players. And at the end of the day, it's going to come down to cost. So you're going to have to be on the bid list, you know? It's like Boeing. Look at Boeing. Boeing lost contracts. Tesla lost contracts under government. The EV issue versus gas. See how things could change very quickly? Very quickly. And what Doge is doing, what the federal government is doing, it's all point towards these big companies and these big carriers right now, because there's a mass exodus and reduction of costs and upswing to profitability. That's what this is about, profitability. Don't take it personal. That's why I'm saying, if you're going to invest in stock, take care of yourself. But if you have the discretionary dollars instead of casinos, smoking, entertainment, as they say, invest in some stock, just a little bit, just to see what happens. In the meantime, you're still making money on your reduced organization. Do what I did. I ended up working for a company that I learned so much that I bought the company. But then they turn around, investors bought me out. That could happen to you. It's all in my book. I have a memoir of how to be an entrepreneur and go through all the shit that I went through. Talk about stress. I get highs once in a while. So I'm going to kind of just look at my notes here. Number one, loyalty, none. Both, either way, okay? You're going to be disgruntled because you're going to feel betrayed right now. Don't take it personal. It's business. It's a personal decision, not a union decision, not a business decision with your boss or HR. They got marching orders, and they publicize it. You could go on Google and look at it. What's the offer? Eventually, it's going to get on YouTube. But you got to listen to who's talking. Is it fake news? Is it fake news? Is it happening? You see the writing on the wall. It's happening. And, I mentioned more than one. Make sure you pick the right horse, okay? The first decision is take the money and run. That's my recommendation. Know what you're doing. What's the next step? Take care of retirement. Take care of your family. Look at your personal budget and say, I got to cut mom and dad, kids. You're the mom and the dad. We're going to take a family budget. We're down to $5,000 a month total. And we're spending 10, or we're spending 5. We got to get down to 3.5, 3,500 a month. Okay. That's what I do as a retiree. I live amongst my Social Security. I don't depend on my retirement. I right size. I did the same thing with the businesses doing and so on. And am I saving money? Yeah, I have some discretionary dollars. And what am I doing with my discretionary dollars? I'm reinvesting. I'm 71 years old. I got 10 years? I'll be 80. Will I be walking at 80? I don't know. And that's what I'm saying to you. Look at your health. Take care of yourself. Start talking to people. Start knowing your value, your personal value. Fuck the resumes. Get out there and talk to people. Okay? You got to pick the right horse. Know it's going to be 3 years, 5 years. I know people that have had less than 2 years at a place and hated it and quit. Well, it looked bad in your resume. Well, don't put it on your resume. Talk to the people that know you. That's what you need. And you know what they find out? They find out they're out of work. Yeah. So that's it. Bottom line, life is changing for you, for me, for the world. Okay? So that's this YouTube here. And I hope you're teaching something to you and your kids, because it's not going to be easy for the next couple of generations. All right? And one thing my 3 kids did, and they reminded me in the past couple of years, because I embarrass them on YouTube. They said, Dad, you taught us not only about education, you taught us how to work hard. When I say work hard, it's showing up, learning something, and then applying it to your next career. Because you're going to have more than one career, believe me. As I mentioned, I've had 8. Okay? And I'm proud of it, because I know how to change. You know? And I'm doing this now at my age. I even went on live recently. Didn't do a very good job, but now I'm starting to understand what I need to do. Okay? So I hope this helped. God bless you. Question me. I'm going to go on live a couple times to answer questions, because I know you're in a tough spot. But they keep talking. UPS, oh yeah, there's this offer. And then they're saying, no, it's not true. It doesn't matter. You find out from HR. Don't need to go to the union. You want to work with the company and be independent of these 20,000 people. If you're the only one that takes the buyout, that's your choice. Not the unions and not the other 19,000 plus. You think for yourself and your family. Who knows you best? You. All right? God bless you. Stay the course. My dad used to say, stay the course. It's tough to be disciplined. It's very tough to be patient and disciplined. And I pray a lot. Because there was nobody else. I had no union. I had no agents. And the other thing I learned about lawyers is lawyers can't do shit for you. You know? To me, it's paperwork. You know? They can't make decisions for you. My best advisors are my financial advisors, you know, because they know what's up. And I had great mentors that were older. And that's why I love to talk to older people, because they've been through it. And most people, when they're in their 80s, are just thankful they're alive and they're going to Starbucks for a cup of coffee or whatever. You know why? Because it's gratitude, it's respect. And that's why you see a smile on an elderly person, because they're alive, man. You know? And that's what you got to think about. And your family is key. And to me, my faith was always strong, because I could barter with God, or at least I could let him know what's going on. And I think that's the reason why I've not only been blessed, I've been lucky. And for me to be able to share my experiences, and I'm bringing you stories, true stories of everybody's individually blessed. So utilize those gifts, utilize those benefits that God has given you, you know, and skill set. And people do change. If you want to be focused and disciplined, you can do it. you know? But prayer helps a lot too. But you're going to get through this. Either buyout, cutback, retirement, whatever. Believe me, you'll get through it. God bless you all. Talk to you soon. This is Rocco. Talk to you soon. Very soon.